Friday Take is about to start. The opinions on the show are the opinions of the host and the guest on Friday Take alone. These opinions do not represent KCLX, Northwest Missouri State University, or Bearcat Athletics. Enjoy the show. And welcome into Friday Take here on April 13th. I'm Devin, Albertson, joined by Luke Sanders. Hope you guys are having a good week. We only got one more week of regular classes here at Northwest, and then finals week, and then we're done with undergrad. At least I'm done with school in general. You're going to do the grad school thing.
What?
So that's what we have going on for us right now.
It's both the most exciting and terrifying things I've ever encountered, so.
It's fair. It's definitely fair, and I'm at the point, and everybody kind of knows the senioritis you get in high school, and then you have the spring semester of college. You combine the two, it's really rough to finish out the semester sometimes.
My senioritis here is so much worse than high school. Because in high school, like, I still had sports going on. I still had track. Like, I didn't like track, but I was still doing something. Like, here it's like I literally just have to not fail, and it's okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same point. I'm like, I don't have graduate school to look forward to, so it's like I got no schooling after this.
Yeah.
So it's just the real world. So that's kind of terrifying. But other than that, it should be fine.
Yeah, that is kind of terrifying. I'm glad I don't have to think about that.
Not for a couple more years, right?
I still got to go to more schooling. Ew.
But last night over at Bearcat Stadium, football was back in action as the spring game took place. I was up in the booth with Trevor Mater and Kramer Sansone as a little bit of three-man crew for the spring game. It was interesting. 17-7 final. The white team beat the green team. They rotated the three quarterbacks between the two teams. It pretty much just rotated series between Kowalski, Wright, and Brandon. It was actually kind of hard to. They were all pretty. No one really stood out above the others, in my opinion. I think Kowalski threw the best ball of the night when he hit Carmichael for the 73-yard touchdown. It was a beautiful pass down the left side of the hash marks. It was right in stride, and he was able to outrun the defender to the end zone. It was a beautiful throw, but he's got the biggest arm, but he was pretty inconsistent throughout the night, missing a couple guys. I'm not sure if it was just the timing was off early in the season or what it was, but I think he's got the best arm, and I think he's probably going to be the starter. He's 6'4", 220. I mean, he's the prototypical quarterback, sophomore out of Nebraska. He was the Gatorade Player of the Year in Nebraska as a senior in high school, so he's got a loaded talent. So I'm curious what he can do. Wright, he was probably the most mobile guy. He had an 18-yard touchdown run earlier in the game, and he was the guy who ran the read option more and was more of that type of style of quarterback, the old classic Northwest quarterback. And then Brandon, first of all, he wore number 28 as a quarterback, so that's kind of awesome. And he was probably the best mixture of the two, but didn't show any big flashes. So they didn't really stand out between each other, but none of them scared me if we had to play them. So I think they're in a decent position.
All right. Yeah, I didn't get to go to the spring game, but I'm excited. We'll have a quarterback next year.
That'd be great. I think.
Yeah, and we had two. The thing that's tough is that those two quarterbacks going into the year looked really good.
Yeah.
Zach and Jonathan both looked really good in the spring game. And so, like, you don't want to base too much off the spring game because, obviously, it's an exhibition game.
It's a scrimmage, yeah.
Just for fun. But, I mean, it's not just for fun, but pretty much. So, just don't get too excited, but I'm getting too excited, so it's fine.
One thing that I do want to say is I don't think the kicking game is going to be that much better this year, which is disappointing. They tried 3 field goals last night, 49, a 48, and a 38. They made the 38-yarder. They made all the extra points. The 48-yarder was plenty of leg but wide left, and the 49-yarder was into the wind, and it may have been partially blocked, so it's kind of hard to tell, but it was well short. So I didn't know we couldn't tell if the hold was bad, and if he just got missed it or what happened there, but the first kick was not pretty, and the next two were better. So we'll see what happens with Sampson as the year goes on. He will just be a sophomore, so we'll see if he can kind of figure out some of those kicking issues. But the other guys that kind of impressed me, and of course Althoff and Hessler and Anthony Lane, a couple of those guys didn't play, so you didn't get to see all the starters, but Nick Hess looked good at linebacker again. Jack Richards had a nice game. But Jacob Gassman really popped off the field a little bit last night. He was, from his free safety position, was all over the field last night. He was impressive. He was coming up from 15, 20 yards deep, making plays in the line of scrimmage, coming out of nowhere.
Yeah, he played linebacker last year, right?
He kind of played that, since they run that 4-2-5 almost sometimes, he played that wild role between the safeties.
Daniel Sorensen role.
Yeah, we'll go with that. But he played really well last time. There was one play, they ran a little reverse for Sean Bain Jr., and he tracked him down, and Sean Bain had no chance, and that's pretty impressive because Bain's super fast. Gassman, he had a nice game last night. Other guys, I'm trying to remember who all had a nice game last night. A freshman running back out of Florida, Raymond Thomas. He's only 5'7", but he's actually he's thicker built. But man, that kid is fast. He had probably 3 runs where he burst out in line of scrimmage. You could just tell the speed was there. 5'7", 170 freshman from Bradenton, Florida. He also had a 71-yard touchdown run off the right side. And once he broke the line of scrimmage, there was nobody who was catching him because he's fast. As I said in the broadcast last night, he made fast guys look not that fast. So.
All right.
So he'll be interesting to see if he gets any playing time in that running back. I know the running backs are pretty stacked back there with Jones, Caldwell coming in, who didn't play last night, and then you also have Big Man and others. So it's gonna be tough to get into the starting lineup and get some playing time. But if he does, he could be a guy that can do a couple things. And then a guy for the slot to watch out for, Alec Tatum. Only 5'9", sophomore, but he made some pretty nice plays last night between just some quick slants, getting some quarterbacks some rhythm, and then some screen passes that he broke for 15 to 20-yard gains. So he's also going to do a little bit in the return game, it looks like, as well, and he was pretty quick. The defense just looked like its normal self. I mean, they had SQ and Roberts and all those guys out there. They were just their normal selves out there. So I'm sure they played Roberts a lot more defensive tackle last night in the spring game, which I thought was interesting because they have a bunch of defensive ends. They just don't have very many guys who are quote-unquote defensive tackles, so they might have to move him down to get him on the field, and also just because they are lacking some beef on the inside. And then finally, what was another guy? Oh, yeah, just want to mention Shelby McMillan had a sack last night. So,
all right, Shelby. Amen. Represent.
Amen. Represent. So he had a nice little showing there last night. And they came away last night relatively injury-free. I think there was one O-lineman who got rolled up on early in the game, but he was walking around the sideline afterwards, so we're not sure exactly what happened to, I think it was White, offensive lineman out of Maryville, but we're pretty sure he's going to be Jake White. Got rolled up on early in the game, but we think he's going to be all right. So that's kind of what happened last night in the spring game. It's really hard to kind of take too many things away from this because, as Luke said, it's just a scrimmage. But first football game is in 4 months, so only 4 months to wait for Bearcat football back on the field. And they'll play Missouri Western on August 30th here in Maryville at 7 o'clock. It'll be a Thursday, right when school opens back up. Northwest will be taking on Western. Their home games next year will be Missouri Western, Missouri Southern, Emporia, Nebraska Kearney, and Fort Hays. So that's going to be their home games for next year. So that's all we really got for the spring game. I mean, it was interesting to see some of the guys out there, some of the younger guys get a chance to put the uniform back on and see what they can do. A lot of those guys were freshmen last year, redshirted, so they hadn't been in front of a crowd playing football in a while. There was a decent crowd there last night, actually, for the spring game. So
yeah, I figured there would be, seeing as they had that tailgate before and everything, and it was really nice yesterday too.
It was beautiful. It was like 72 in the third quarter, and I'm like, this is what April's supposed to be about. If we could just keep it here and not have tomorrow.
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't get your hopes up, man.
Was it Swinter? Is that what we're calling it?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we're at right now with the spring game. Also, some awards that they handed out last night after the first quarter and thus forth. If I can just go back through it real quick. The Scout Team Offensive Player of the Year was Braden Wright. The Scout Team Defensive Player of the Year was Adrian Eskew. And the Scout Team Special Teams Player of the Year was Sam Phillips. The regular, I'm not sure why I don't have the regular one up there, but it should have been, Special Teams was Thorman, Offense was Shane Williams, and the defense was Austin Eskew for Player of the Years. So that's kind of where they had for those awards. For the Iron Bearcats, they give to the guys who do the best in the weight room. True freshman was Sam Phillips. Redshirt freshman was Jake Knoll. Sophomore, Brody McMahon. Junior, Ben Altoff. And senior, Cole Forney. That's what they gave those awards last night.
Seeing his score for when he saw the field last year, I imagine that he had to do some serious work in the weight room.
Yeah,
so.
and I believe he just got a job as a personal trainer at the community rec center. So,
solid job.
Congrats to California. Yeah, that's kind of going on there. They honored, I think, him and Baker got an award last night as well for Spirit of Bearcats or something like that. So Forney was there to get a Baker. He's playing overseas right now, so of course he couldn't accept it in person. So that's what we have going on right now. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the NBA. We'll start with the Eastern Conference playoffs first and see how those games go. And we'll take a break and come back with the Western Conference playoffs. So take a break and come back with some NBA talk next here on Friday Take. And we are back here on Friday Take. I'm Devin Albertson, joined by Luke Sanders. It's time to talk about the NBA playoffs are set in each conference. It's the seeding in the East: Toronto 1, Boston 2, Philadelphia 3, Cleveland 4, Indiana 5, Miami 6, Milwaukee 7, and Washington at 8 is the playoff seedings in the Eastern Conference. So the first series that we have here is the Raptors versus the Wizards in the 1-8 matchup. Raptors finished the year 59-23, while the Wizards were 43-39. John Wall is back for the Wizards now. This actually should be a pretty good matchup. We have front court matchup of Lowry and DeRozan versus Wall and Beal. Could be interesting here.
Yeah, it could be about like 5 games interesting, maybe. Could be 4.
I think it's going 7.
You high?
No, I don't believe in the Raptors.
But you believe in the Wizards. I don't believe in the Raptors either, but the Wizards are not good.
They're not, but they're inconsistent, which is why they're going to lose the series.
They're going to lose the first 2 games and then the third game, and then they might win the 4th game, but they also might pull a John Wall and just quit. So I don't know.
Wasn't it a good series last year with these two teams?
Yes, but Toronto's literally twice as good as last year.
No, last year it was Wizards versus Celtics. That's what it was.
You're right. Didn't the Wizards win and then the Wizards play the Raptors, though? No, the Celtics won last year.
Celtics won last year because the Cavs killed them.
Was it 2 years ago?
Might have been 2 years ago. It was something like that.
But anyways, the point is that Toronto's a much better team than Washington, top to bottom. It's not even close. The only way that Washington stays in the series is if Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan just don't play well at all.
Which is definitely possible.
It's possible. I'm not saying it's not. But I think,
especially with Lowry.
I think that DeMar DeRozan will play well enough that they'll end up smoking the Wizards, because the Wizards' backcourt, Otto's not been playing great.
No.
And the rest of it's not good. So.
Yeah, because with the starting lineups, Wall, Beal,
I don't even
Porter,
know who their 4 is.
Morris, and Gortat, I believe, with their starting
Morris,
five.
yeah, not great.
One of the twins. I'm not sure which ones. I think they have Marcus. So that's what they have for their. I don't know. I think the Wizards can push them at least. I think they match up well with Toronto. I don't think they're going to win the series, but Toronto also has this knack of in the playoffs not putting teams away and making it go a long series.
It's true. I think it'll be a sweep, though. Maybe I think it'll go 5.
Gentlemen sweep them.
True. A Baker sweep. I don't know.
So that's what you have for the first series. Second series we will have is Cleveland versus Indiana.
I got Indiana in 7. No, I don't even think Indiana will make this competitive at all. Not just for the series, not even for, like, games. I just think that they won't be really close. I got Cleveland in sweep.
I got Cavs in 5.
You're giving them 1?
Because the Cavs play such bad defense. There'll be one game where Stevenson doesn't miss and they'll win a game.
That's true.
Like last year, the Pacers should have won a game over the Cavs. They wouldn't have blown like a 30-point lead.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think the Pacers can win a game in there. The Cavs don't play great defense. They might be able to shoot really well.
Last year, the Pacers had Paul George.
And they're actually...
but who's going to guard LeBron? That's my point for this next part.
Lance Stevens is going to blow on him. He's going to be fine.
Oh. Unless he blows on, like, his ACL, I think they're out.
I think they're out. Yeah, most likely. I'm not saying they're going to... I'm not even saying it's going to be a competitive series. I'm just saying like they could push it to 5 games. That's about it. Like there's nothing...
Yeah, that's literally the extent of, like, what
they got Thaddeus Young.
They could... I feel like if they played out of their minds, they could make it a 6-game series. And that's it.
If they play out of their minds just ridiculously well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're not... And no one's really scared of Indiana at this point.
No, I feel like the Cavs by far got the best matchup.
Yeah, it's not a bad matchup. If they beat Indiana, they get Toronto, who they own in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So that could be interesting. The other side of the East, you have Boston versus Milwaukee in the 2-7 matchup. Boston 55-27, Milwaukee 44-38.
I got Boston in 6. I know that Milwaukee's roster is probably more talented than Boston's right now, but Brad Stevens is really, really good at his job.
Brad Stevens is very good at his job. And these games, there might be a couple games like first to 90, 95 might win it because Boston can't score without Kyrie.
And outside of Giannis, Milwaukee has not been playing well at all.
No, which is kind of surprising me because they have some talented guys.
Yeah,
with
Bledsoe's solid.
Middleton, Parker.
Middleton's good.
Like, I don't understand why they can't score or like be consistent. I don't understand.
Parker is kind of dealing with the rookie fatigue, I feel like, though. This is really the first year that he's played a full year, so.
Jabari?
Yeah.
He's come back from injury, so he's only played 31 games this year. Like, that was part of his thing. Like, he tore his ACL halfway through last year, came back.
Yeah.
Like, last year, it was like he was healthy, Middleton was hurt, Middleton came back, and like 2 games later, Parker tore his ACL. So they've been rough. We're trying to get their whole lineup situated with that. And also they have Malcolm Brogdon, who's missed a few games this year. And also have John Henson at center, who's okay. They're just super long. Like, just all their players are got really long arms. So it's,
well, Giannis takes up like the whole court. So.
Yes, he is. And he's fun to watch, which is why, as you said, Brad Stevens is going to be the reason the Celtics win this series. And I think Jaylen Brown and Tatum have enough offensively to get Boston over it. But I think Milwaukee could push it 6 or 7 games. I think I said 7 just because I want something interesting in the East. And if that goes 7 games, it'd be interesting back in Boston for Game 7. That's what part of these, like, that's, like, I don't know if the Wizards actually push the Raptors to 7, but I kind of want to see it. I just don't want to go complete chalk.
You always go hopeful.
I do go hopeful with the series. I want to go longer, more playoffs, basketball.
How come you didn't pick the Pacers to get 2 then?
Because no one wants to see Lance Stevenson for more than 5 games.
I do. Dude, you know that series would start to get really heated if that went more than 5 games.
That's fair.
It'd be fun.
And this is
it's
actually
not really a possibility.
It's still a hopeful prediction because I want the Cavs to play less games as possible. That way, LeBron.
It's not really a hopeful. If you're going straight hopeful, that'd be a sweep because that's very possible.
Fair. That's fair.
So you're using your head a little bit on that one.
Just a smidge.
On the other 2, I don't know.
By the way, the peak Lance Stevenson is blocking Dwight Howard and then staring him down as the guy behind you dunks the ball because you didn't get the loose rebound.
That's fair. Lance Stevenson's
after you turn it over the first time.
Yeah,
like, you turn it over, get a chase down block, and then stare him down as the next guy behind you dunks it.
Dude, if I blocked Dwight Howard, I would stare him down and there would be nothing. I don't care what happens in the rest of the play.
I just thought it was
like
peak
when
Lance Stevenson.
When you're small and you block somebody big, it's just a different feel. You wouldn't know.
I hate guards.
You wouldn't know. I blocked you in high school one time. I thought we should throw that in there real quick.
That's fair. I mean, it happened.
Has nothing to do with anything that just happened except for the small guard blocking the big guy, but, you know.
It happens.
Honestly, I don't really think I've ever brought that up except for maybe like one time when we decided that it happened. So I feel like now on this radio show.
I got you back later on a reverse layup, so we're good.
Well, you're 6'5". It doesn't count.
I did my job. Do your job.
Count.
It does. It definitely does count because you should have had a layup there, and I rejected it. Anyways, back to the NBA.
That was pretty much the NBA 275 conference, you know.
76ers versus the Heat. 76ers finished 52-30, while the Heat finished 44-38. The Sixers super young, so that's one thing that I do worry about going into this series. But they're also really talented, so that kind of negates some of my worries.
76ers in 5.
I got it in 6.
I think if the Heat had waiters, it would go 6 or 7, but they don't. So I got 76 and 5.
They don't. And also Whiteside is kind of making a fuss down there.
Yeah,
thing going on.
I've seen some trade rumors that have been pretty solid.
So it could be interesting this offseason with the Heat. But also, of course, they have Goran Dragic and a couple of guys. They just have a bunch of B players who play well together, and they got Spoelstra's a good coach at this point in his career, so that's interesting to kind of see how that goes. And you never know with Kelly Olynyk if he's going to show up and play really well in a game like he did last year with Boston. He scored like 30-some points against the Cavs.
It's true.
Because it makes zero sense that Man Bun plays well. But he does sometimes. And I think the 76ers, I think they had the Rookie of the Year in Ben Simmons. He would get my vote for it, even though I think Donovan Mitchell is really close. But they're just – and one thing that I think that could push it 6 games is if Embiid doesn't play in a couple of games, the Heat might be able to get a game on him with Whiteside dominating the post. So
my 5 is based off Embiid playing every game.
And I do like Embiid in the mask. The black mask. He wore it on the
Phantom in the process. It was interesting.
I love Embiid on Twitter. It's great. I need more Embiid on Twitter.
The trade that I saw, I pulled it back up. It's Whiteside to the Lakers, and the Heat get Luol Deng, Josh Hart, and a 2018 second-round pick. So you know that means that Whiteside really wants out because that trade sucks.
Yeah, the trade does suck. It's not great.
But I think all those people are one-year people, and then the Heat after that could rebuild.
No, he always wants salary cap room because it's Miami and South Beach, and it's really nice. And
Yeah.
free agents kind of want to play there with the no income tax, Pat Riley, whole thing down there.
Not bad.
Yeah, not bad a situation in Miami. I mean, they pulled LeBron a few years ago, so anything is possible down there in Miami. Also, kind of interesting to see Markelle Fultz for Philly come back late in the season and play well. Had a triple-double in his last game of the regular season.
Yeah, everyone's saying that he could still be a bust. It's like he's played like 5 games. How do you know that he's a bust or not?
I don't know how you can call anybody a bust in the first couple of years, really, unless they're like absolutely atrocious.
Unless they are.
Unless they can't get out of the D League, like at that point, like maybe.
Who am I thinking of? The Cavs, Anthony Bennett. You could tell in 5 minutes that kid was a bust.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. That's the one guy, but yeah, he was just bad. They could have had Oladipo, but instead they took Anthony Bennett.
I mean, there wasn't really much great in that draft, though.
Giannis went 13.
What?
Giannis went 13.
Yeah.
Well, he was kind of an unknown.
That's true. I forgot about
That
Giannis.
agrees.
But outside of him and Oladipo, everyone else is like kind of just
Otto's there. I mean, they're just okay in that draft class. So, yeah, Markelle Fultz, as you said there, he's played in 14 games this year. 18 minutes a game, averaging 7 points, 4 assists a game. I mean, there's nothing. Like, you just can't, especially with their team, like, they have so many other guys they have to worry about right now playing well with Simmons and Embiid. Like, he's not going to be a guy who come in his first 14 games as a rookie and score 20 a game because they don't need him to. So he can just kind of be a spark plug off the bench, and he's going to be talented. So it'd be interesting to see how he goes. And I always laugh people like, well, he's already a bust. Like Lonzo, it's like Lonzo's not a bust. Like he's going to be a solid NBA player. He may not be a superstar, but he's going to be a solid player. Like I don't understand.
Yeah, Lonzo's good. I don't get what people say. Like he can't shoot. He can't.
No,
he's bad at shooting.
It's very inconsistent.
But Ben Simmons can't shoot, and no one calls him a bust. And outside of scoring, their numbers are similar-ish. You know, like it's not quite as high. But
like we're not saying that Ben's definitely better,
yes,
but Lonzo's not. But I don't understand.
They're similar. What I'm saying is they're similar players.
Yeah.
And I don't get how you can call Lonzo Ball bust.
Because Lonzo's dad is LeVar Ball.
If you say his dad's really stupid, then I'll agree with you 100%. That doesn't mean that Lonzo sucks. If you all want to be compared to the exact person your father is, like some of you that's a good thing, and some of you are absolutely going to hate that. So
yeah, that's fair. And like it'd be different if their personalities were pretty similar between him and his dad, but they're
like
not.
So if you compare LaMelo to LeVar, I will take that.
Definitely possible.
Yeah, because LaMelo and LeVar are pretty much the same person.
LaMelo's really dumb.
Yeah, they're not smart.
So that's what it is.
Except for the thing is, LeVar actually is smart. He just acts like he's stupid, and it makes me so mad because it works. And people watch his show, pay for his stuff.
He's looking.
Except for I would totally buy one of those shirts if they went $50, dude. The shirts
It's
are
really
actually
expensive.
not bad.
Super expensive.
Yeah,
I do watch their Facebook Live. Their Facebook
I know
show.
you do. That's what I was
I
talking
know.
about.
I know. That's why I'm just letting the people at home know. I watch it. I don't care. Every Sunday, comes on Facebook.
Yeah, I get Snap every time because he knows I hate it so much.
Oh. Yeah, so that's kind of what's going on there in the East. I know the Hawks were happy during the last game of the regular season because since the Timberwolves made the playoff in the West, they got their first round pick. So the Hawks gets 2 first round picks this year. Even though that one's gonna be like very late first round. So
I mean, it'll be like the first non-lottery pick. It'll be 15 or 16.
now they have a better record than 3 of the teams in the East who made the playoffs. So
I thought it was okay. I thought it was split, but still,
it's somewhere in that range. So it'll be mid first round ish. But the Hawks need all the talent they can get at this point.
the Hawks need a lot more than 2 first-round picks. You could give them 30 first-round picks, and I don't know if they'd be in contention next year.
No, teams that tank are great. Also, in the Eastern Conference, since we're here, the Knicks and the Magic both fire their head coaches. So there's that.
And the Hornets.
And the Hornets fired their coach, too. So,
Today.
Yep, Clifford. After a 36-46 season, they fired him.
Well, yeah, you had a pretty talented team, and you stink, so.
Yeah, Kimba's a decent point guard. Dwight Howard played really well this year.
Kimba's good.
Yeah, I don't understand why Charlotte was that bad this year either. Like,
Plus, don't they have Batum? I know he's getting kind of old, but he's still solid.
I mean, yeah, they got Marvin Williams and Kaminsky at power forward. Keith Gilchrist, who really can't score, but he's a decent defender. Michael Carter-Williams. Like, they have players on that team. So, I don't understand. And Dwight Howard had a good year. Like, you good year at Dwight Howard, you got to be good. I mean, he averaged 16.5 points and 12.5 rebounds a game.
And that's really good.
And almost blocking half a game.
Yeah. That's not vintage Dwight, but it's almost there.
His PER was over 20, so it's like, if you get to that out of Dwight Howard, you got to make the playoffs. Like, I don't understand. It's Charlotte, so who knows? Yeah, so that's what we have there. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll go to the Western Conference to see what's going on out west. That should be really fun to see how these teams match up in the Western Conference. So we'll take a break. We'll be back next here on Friday Take, KZLX. And welcome into Friday Take. Just after 9:30 here in Maryville. Just talked about the spring game, Eastern Conference playoffs. Now move on to the Western Conference and the NBA to see how that's going to sort itself out here. As the first game will be Houston. I guess the season is Houston, Golden State, Portland, Oklahoma City, Utah, New Orleans, San Antonio, and Minnesota, with the T-Wolves getting in on the last day of the regular season, beating the Nuggets in a winner-go-home game for that final playoff spot in the West. And we'll start with the first matchup, the 1 versus 8, the Houston Rockets at, I believe, 65 and 17 against Minnesota Timberwolves, who are 47 and 35. What do you think about this series here, Luke?
Low-key, I think this series is super underrated. I think this could actually be a really, really good series. It kind of depends on which Andrew Wiggins you get. But if Andrew Wiggins plays well, like, why can this not be a competitive series?
Because the Timberwolves do not match up at all with Rockets.
Why? Tell me why.
Who's going to guard? I guess they have Jimmy Butler to guard.
Jimmy Butler.
Who's going to guard Chris Paul then?
Andrew Wiggins. Actually, that'll probably be flipped. So if Andrew Wiggins actually shows up and plays defense, and he's a really good defender when he tries, which is not often, so we'll have to work on that. But it's the playoffs. Like, some guys just have that switch.
Yeah, it's definitely.
If you tell me that Andrew Wiggins and Jimmy Butler is not one of the best matchups to guard those two, I will tell you that you're wrong.
That's fair, but we've also seen these teams play 3 times earlier this year, and the Rockets have won by a combined 63 points.
Okay, Jimmy Butler didn't play at least one of those 2 times. At least one of the 3. And, I mean, like, it's kind of different in the playoffs because the Timberwolves have a better coach. Like, I'm sorry. Like, D'Antoni's got a really good system, but as far as, like, basketball coaching goes, I would take Tibbs 9 out of 10 times.
Yeah, probably.
And just, like, how to get guys going and things like that. So, I just think that this, like, I'm not saying that the Timberwolves are going to win. I have the Rockets in 6, but I feel like this is just so much more interesting than anybody's talking about. Like, no one's talking about this series. And the Timberwolves team is super talented.
They are super talented.
The biggest difference between Houston and the Timberwolves is that the Houston has so much more depth than Minnesota does.
I'm trying to see here if Butler played in all 3 of their matchups this year. He did play in all 3 of their matchups.
Did he really?
Yes. So the first matchup, Rockets won 116-98. Butler played 42 minutes, had 23 points. Wiggins had 16. Cat had 22. On the other side, James Harden had 10 points with 7 assists. How did they win this game? Oh, Eric Gordon had 30 points off the bench. That's how they won this game.
Luke's analysis coming in clutch.
Capella had 20. Chris Paul had 19. And
how do you let Clint Capella score 19 or 20? I mean,
that's a good question.
You have Karl Anthony Towns. Like, Karl. All you really have to do is make sure he doesn't dunk the ball. That's literally all he does.
The next game, it was Rockets beat him by 18, 120-102. James Harden had 31 points and 9 assists. Chris Paul had 14 points, 10 rebounds, and 8 assists. Capella had 25 points and 11 rebounds.
Okay, apparently Clint Capella can just dominate the Timberwolves. That doesn't make any sense.
On the other side, Jimmy Butler played 25 minutes, only had 10 points on 14 shots.
Maybe that's what I was thinking of. Like, he barely played, but yeah.
And then Cat had 18 points and 13 rebounds, and Wiggins had 21 points. In the final game, the Rockets won 126-108.
So they won every game by 18 points. Literally each game by 18 points.
Did they play a 4th game? No, they only played 3. I don't know why. Well, ESPN put out 63 was their big thing, so I'm not sure. Nope, another game here. They won by 9.
Yep. There you go.
Okay, with his third game, let's see. Harden had 34 points and 13 assists. Capella had 14 and 12. Yeah, so I think what we're getting here is Capella gets a lot of points against Minnesota.
Which doesn't make any sense because Capella's not great. Like, he's a really solid defender and rebounder, but he's not a scorer.
Jimmy had 15 points. Teague had 25, and Cat had 35 and 12. Wiggins only had 7 points in that third matchup in 41 minutes. That's not great. And then the final one, they actually got in a scuffle in the final game. James Harden still had 34 points and 12 assists. Capella had 16 and 12, 18 points for Harden, for Paul. And on the other side, the big three, I guess not. Who didn't play in this one? Butler did not play in the last game. The Rockets only won by 9.
I knew that Butler didn't play in one of them.
And that game, Wiggins had 21, Cat had 20 and 18, and Teague had 23 points and 11 assists.
Here's my point. Yes. I have seen one person on either team be really good in the playoffs, and they don't play for the Rockets.
Chris Paul has been good in the playoffs at times.
I said I've seen one person be, consistently really good in the playoffs, and they don't play for the Rockets.
Talking about Jimmy?
It's Jimmy Butler. He is by far the best playoff performer in this series. It's not really that close.
I think you're underselling Chris Paul a little bit.
No, they've had flashes. Chris Paul's had flashes, but when it comes down to like big games, Chris Paul has underperformed in a few.
He has in a few. I'll give you that.
Out of like 6, probably like 5. I mean, like, I'm not saying that Chris Paul's choked them away because other people on his team have definitely choked.
Yeah,
and when he played, we're not counting anything when he played in New Orleans because that team was not good. That was literally Chris Paul carried a team to the playoffs.
Yeah, David West was the second best player.
Yeah, I mean, they weren't good.
Tyson Chandler. Tyson Chandler.
David West was pretty good at that point. Like, he was solid. And Tyson Chandler was a really, really good defender and rim protector.
And that's it.
But they didn't have any scoring. Like, it was literally Chris Paul drive, maybe throw it to Peja Stojakovic for 3.
Hoy.
I mean, he was a super good shooter too, but it was kind of like the LeBron thing. Like, their roster wasn't super talented, but it worked well with Chris Paul.
Yeah.
So
the pieces fit there. So it's kind of what
but
I
anyway,
see what you're saying, though, with that.
Jimmy Butler is the best playoff performer in that series. I just think, like, obviously, I don't think that that Minnesota has the firepower to win the series, but I think the games are going to be really competitive, and I think it could go 6.
I said 5.
Maybe 7.
I think it's going to be a competitive 5.
I really hope Minnesota wins. Like, it's not like possible, but it's possible. Like, it's just barely there.
There's a lot of good players in this series.
Yeah,
which is going to be fun to watch. So
if Andrew Wiggins plays well, I think that Minnesota legitimately has a chance. But I don't have that much faith in Andrew Wiggins, so I can't predict it.
And as much as I like Jokic for the Nuggets, I'm glad that Minnesota got the 8th seed because they're a better team. Like, there's more talent, there's more stars there, and they actually play a little bit of defense. The Nuggets do not.
No, Nuggets do not. They just have Jamal Murray and Jokic, and they're like, go score some points and then let them have the ball and put it in the basket.
Because Jokic does not play great defense.
No, he doesn't.
He's a fun big to watch because he can score, and he's a great passer, which I love, out of the post, but he can't play much defense.
I just like my bigs to play defense and
rebound. Just a little bit. He rebounds.
That's all I need him to do. I don't need him to score.
Yeah, typical pull up from 30.
You right.
The next series is the 4-5 matchup, the Oklahoma City Thunder versus the Utah Jazz, as they both finished the year 48 and 34.
Oh, I want to take the Jazz so bad.
I do too.
It's been all I've wanted to do the whole past. I don't like Carmelo. I really don't like Carmelo. It's not that I dislike Russ. I hate how Russ plays.
I think he's hard to play with.
I agree. We're on the same page with this. He does pad stats. That video that you and Colin put out is trash because he doesn't see that that's Carmelo.
It's just second nature to him at this point. To just
No.
Yes, it is.
If you watch the video.
I did watch the video.
He looks back. He sees the Memphis guy, and then someone's on his back as he goes up for a rebound. He's going to think it's the Memphis guy.
Okay, that's one. If you saw the ESPN montage that happened after the game.
Well, I did not.
It was ridiculous.
I'm just saying I'm defending him one time. Because I'm on your side. Like, I never do pad stats.
It's just, whenever I see a free throw and Steven Adams and Paul George are holding people back so Westbrook can fly in and get a rebound, like, that's not actually that's not a quality rebound. Like, I don't know, just padding stats. Like, if you just outletted, Adams could have got the ball and thrown it up to you, and you would have
I think the best point here is, like, he needed rebounds to average a triple-double, and what do you know? He got his career high in rebounds. I'm just saying. I
thought it actually would have been funny if you just got 15 rebounds and then sat. That would have been hilarious. He would have trolled everybody and like, you know what? I don't need the triple-double. He could have put the whole pad stats thing to rest if you wouldn't have got it, been like 1 rebound short, and then just not get it.
Or just like watch the ball and just be like, someone going to grab that.
That'd been hilarious. Like you would have done that, I'd be like, you know what, pettiness. I love it. Props.
Yeah, but he did not. He's like,
he got 11 rebounds in the first half, and his teammates got to combine 11 rebounds.
Yeah, it's all right though. I'm not gonna lie to you. In that same scenario, I don't know who wouldn't go for the rebounds at that point.
I understand that, yes.
But he's done it like all year. So
it's 2 years.
Well, yeah, but my point is like, if the whole year he had 10 legitimate rebounds for almost the entire year, and then all of a sudden he's like needs 16. Like, let's say it was someone like Hassan Whiteside for some reason needed 10 rebounds, and he goes up for everyone like that. Like, it's a little different.
And my thing is, if it's a big, like the big's job is to rebound and get rebounds. And
I will say on the Thunder though, Russell Westbrook's probably the second best rebounder
after Adams.
Yeah,
that's probably fair. I mean, Paul George is probably right there with him.
Yeah, but Russell. The thing that he said is that I want it more than everybody else, and I don't doubt that because I know he wants it.
I don't doubt that either.
So, like, if you're going to go after the ball and you're going to get it, I get it. It's the ones that I don't like are, like, the free throw where they just box out and no one grabs the ball until Russ comes in there and things like that. But
or when you just – and I know LeBron does this too, where he just stops guarding his man so that he can grab a rebound.
Yeah, LeBron does that a lot.
He does that a lot too, but Westbrook does it even more because Westbrook has the least amount of contested shots this year as a defensive player.
Yeah, that's not great.
That's not good. Like, you can tell, like, that's one thing that I don't like about it.
That is, and if you watched Colin yesterday,
I did.
He talked about Scalabrine kind of called Colin out.
Yeah, he did.
I think that if you're being honest about it, all the NBA players pad stats. I think James Harden probably does it the least because he just has, like, his stats are padded because he has the ball so much, but it's not necessarily stat padding.
And I think it's different. I think with points and assists because I think for a guard you need those. I don't blame him. Like, he had 19 assists. Like, that's great. Like, people were coming at me on Twitter like, oh, he had 19 assists. I'm like, I'm not saying anything about the assists. Like, the assists are great. He gets guys in their spot. Sometimes it is, well, I can't do anything here, so last second I'll pass to you and hopefully you make a shot and I get an assist out of it. I don't like those as much. I don't think it's a whole lot of creating offense. I think it just kind of.
Yeah, he does that a lot.
He does that a lot, which I don't like. But he still gets assists. He's going to score 20 points in his sleep going into the NBA game. So I'm not worried about that at all because he's going to take enough shots to get to 20 points.
You right.
But the rebound numbers that I don't get, like, if you just authentic and get 7 rebounds a game, that's more impressive to me than you trying to get an extra 3 rebounds a game by padding your stats and just jumping in front of your 7-foot big to get the rebound. Like, yeah. That's just me personally.
You still have to respect the fact that he got a triple-double. Like, it is a real accomplishment. I just think that it's a little overrated. And I think that this year it's been a lot better.
Yeah, it's been better this year, I think.
Because it hasn't been, like, the first or whatever. But, like, last year, like, people acted like it was the biggest deal. I still would have voted James Harden MVP last year.
That's what I said last year. I said I don't care about my guard getting rebounds. I just don't care about that.
I mean, I told you the whole time that Russell Westbrook was going to win it, and you still tried to fight me.
I was trying to fight a narrative. It didn't work with my small voice.
I would have voted for James Harden last year. I would vote for James Harden again this year. But my argument to you, I know we're not talking about MVP real quick, but for 2 seconds here, if you're going to vote for stats, which is what you gave me on the LeBron thing, and that's what Colin always gives on the LeBron thing, then Russell Westbrook's the MVP. If you're going to go stats, it's Russell Westbrook. If you're going to go best player, best team, it's James Harden.
The one thing I would disagree with you on the stats for the Russell Westbrook argument, what you could disagree with that is he did bring in, I know Carmelo's older, but he did bring in Paul George while LeBron lost Kyrie, and they still had the same amount of wins. Yeah. While they only went up 1 win by adding an All-Star plus Carmelo.
That's what I'm saying, though. If you're going stats and wins, you got to go James Harden.
LeBron's the best of both worlds.
No, he's if you're telling me that getting the 4 seed in the East counts as being a winner, then you're
50 wins.
Absolutely incorrect.
50 wins.
4 seed in the East. In the East.
They played Isaiah Thomas, who was awful, unplayable. They still played him.
LeBron James plays the worst defense in the NBA. Don't at me.
It's not true.
That's not true.
He
plays really bad defense.
He conserves his energy.
Like Scalabrine said that he plays worse defense than James Harden ever has. And I looked it up, and according to numbers, that is actually a factual statement. I don't know if I agree with it because James Harden was really, really bad. Like, James Harden couldn't guard anybody at any point in the game. Like, LeBron James cannot guard somebody for 3.5 quarters and then for half a quarter lock someone down when he has
And
to.
LeBron's thing is he won't rotate when he should rotate on defense and stuff like that, so it looks pretty obvious, and he'll just kind of stand there.
I don't think that affects your defensive rating, honestly.
It should. I think it does.
Does it?
I think so.
I thought it was just
whenever it's like
Harden.
you're standing there and the guy just scores, you're sitting there like, oh, like I think that impacts your defensive rating. But James Harden, it used to be like, I am standing here, you make one dribble move, and I do the Olay, and he scores like. Or when his controller died and Otto Porter ran by him for a backdoor cut. That was hilarious.
But now if you watch James Harden, he legitimately plays defense. Like, not like lockdown in your face, but like
he's
good,
adequate.
solid defense.
He's adequate defender now.
And Houston's 6th in the league in defense, and Cleveland is 29th.
They're better than Phoenix at defense, at least.
That's not saying anything. I think that our City League team might be comparable to Phoenix on the defensive end of the ball.
Hey, we turned it on when we needed to.
Yeah, but
Playoff
I'm
action.
talking about in the NBA.
We made the finals.
Like, we could probably shut down as much as people do.
We made the finals, bro. We knocked out the number 1 seed, all right? No one cares about this. Anyways, Jazz, Oklahoma City.
I'm taking the Jazz in 7.
I wanted to so bad. I'm taking the Thunder
I'm
in
gonna
7.
regret it though, because the thing about this series
The
is
Thunder are so
could,
much more talented.
it could go really quick. OKC could win in 4.
But I don't think I just think Utah kind of like the same thing as you see with Boston in the East. They're so well coached. They get so many open shots for guys like Joe Ingles, which makes zero sense that he gets open shots.
Yeah, like literally, he's like 35 years old. If you just stand
And
there
white.
and don't let him shoot threes, he can't do anything.
And then they have Donovan Mitchell. He's playing
Probably
really well.
to help on Donovan Mitchell because he's really good and really fast.
And you have Rudy Gobert in the paint, who's really long.
The Stifle Tower.
Yeah.
Solid nickname, by the way.
He's really good. I mean, they're just really well coached, and they're solid throughout their roster, and they run a good offense, and they get open looks, and they play real defense. And that's one thing. I think Westbrook averages 22 points a game this year versus the Jazz because they don't really give anything easy in there. So it'll be interesting to see how this matchup goes. I am thinking Oklahoma City. I think in a 1-game setting for a Game 7, they're just the more talented team, and I usually take the more talented team. Though I will be rooting for Utah to win this series.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
if you root for OKC, I mean, unless you're actually an OKC fan, if you're just an NBA fan, then you're probably a tool.
Like, I like Paul George and Steven Adams.
I really like Paul George. I want him to leave. That's why I'm rooting for him. Because, like, I loved KD, and I still love KD. And it's so hard to watch people play with Russell Westbrook. It's so hard.
Yeah. You mean when you're sitting there wide open after you're hitting 3 straight threes and Westbrook will just not pass you the ball and pull up for 15 feet?
Yeah. Yes.
Is that frustrating to watch?
It's frustrating.
And I don't want to knock Westbrook for any of his intensity, his attitude on the court. Like, he is a 150% guy on the floor. Like, he's all out every possession, but sometimes, like, you need a little bit of restraint when you're running an offense as a point guard, and having some pace is great.
Like, when you're the third worst shooter on the court, or third best shooter on the court, you should not have the most shots.
It's fair. That's definitely a novel idea. He did shoot under 30% from 3 this year. I will give him some credit. He did start shooting less threes halfway through the year. Like, he's like, wait, I'm going 1 for 9 from 3. Maybe I should stop shooting these.
Yeah.
Like, good job. He still shot 4 threes
they really
a game.
needed like if OKC right now had a legitimate coach, they'd be really good.
I think Billy Donovan's a good college guy. I don't know if he's NBA.
Know. It's completely different, really.
Yes, it is. It is. And no one really reins Westbrook in a bit and be like, hey.
No, he literally needs like a Popovich or Snyder or Brad Stevens. He needs someone that's top tier team basketball mentality. Yeah,
to be like, hey, I get you can score, but you shooting 44.9% from the field and under 30 from 3 and shooting that many shots a game is not helping us win. Like, you're taking 21 shots at 45%.
Like, Russell, you either dunk it, shoot your little pull-up jumper like 5 times a game, or pass.
Like,
you can average 15 assists per game and still get your triple-double. Like,
and he's averaging 25, 10, and 10 this year. I mean, he had a really good year. I mean, so I'm not going to take anything away from that way. It's just I don't like some of the stuff that he goes about doing it in an inorganic way. It's kind of where I'm at with it. But it happens. He averaged triple-double. Congratulations. First player ever to do it back-to-back seasons. First player ever to do it twice. So congratulations to Westbrook. Next series, Golden State, San Antonio. Golden State finished the year with 58 wins. San Antonio with 47.
Remember when you saw that tweet that you thought Kawhi was going to be back?
Hey, it didn't. It got John Middlecoff, so I'm not too mad about it. 'Cause it's got him too, who's a professional guy. And then I put, this makes me angry because I sent it to the Dropping Dimes guys, and they shared it too. And then it's like, oh, timeline 2017. I'm like, I hate people. I hate that I fell for it.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm like,
I feel like San Antonio would for sure win that series without Steph being back if Kawhi was back.
yeah, I think they have a good chance because I think Kawhi Leonard's really good, and the Warriors without Steph Curry just miss an element that makes them so dominant.
But do you think that San Antonio can compete in this series at all? They have no one. Like, they have Patty Mills, and then they have LaMarcus Aldridge, and then they have no one. It's so bad. The fact that this roster's in the playoffs is just so crazy.
You mean the starting lineup of DeJounte Murray, Patty Mills, Danny Green, Kyle Anderson, LaMarcus Aldridge?
Their starting two guard is literally like 5'9". Patty Mills is like, okay, I actually think he's like 6'1". But as far as NBA goes, that's pretty much 5'9".
He is listed at 6 foot 185.
6 foot flat?
Yep.
So you know he's like 5'11", 5'10". So I wasn't that far off, actually.
DeJounte is 6'5", their point guard.
Yeah, but Jonte's like 120 pounds.
It lists him at 170.
Yeah.
Soaking wet.
6'5", 170 pounds. That's me. I am skinny. I am 5'11".
It's like Ryan Welty.
I'm 170 pounds.
It's like Ryan
It's
Welty.
literally Ryan Welty. Yes. Except for, I think Ryan Welty probably weighs more than 170
I
pounds.
think he weighs 190. I think
That's 20 pounds
I
less.
think he's 6'7", 190.
Yeah, so it's Ryan
6'8",
Welty.
somewhere
It's
in
pretty
there.
much Ryan Welty, but 2 inches shorter.
Yeah.
Same size.
There are guys off the bench. They have Tony Parker, Mono Ginobili, Brandon Paul, Rudy Gay, and Pau Gasol.
I mean, like, if we're talking 2010, that's a really, really good bench. If we're talking 2018, that is like the oldest bench of all time.
Yeah, Rudy Gay, still playing.
Rudy Gay is good. Rudy Gay is the best out of all those people. Why are you going to call him out like that?
He's scoring 11 points a game this year.
He's playing the best out of all those people right now.
He's actually probably playing some of the most efficient ball he's ever played.
Yeah,
I mean, playing for Popovich will do that for you.
that's what I'm saying. Popovich.
Popovich's like, hey, quit shooting 20 times a game.
Signing Westbrook. I think I would actually really like to watch Russell Westbrook play under Popovich.
Him for Kawhi, straight up.
Well, I saw a trade that was Kawhi to the Timberwolves for Wiggins and some pieces. It wasn't any of the other.
Boy, Butler and him on the wings.
Him, Butler, and Karl Anthony Towns. You get just a point guard that can do anything, and woo, that's a really, really good team.
Yeah, it's scary. I don't want that to happen. Be entertaining, though.
I want someone to go.
Because Kawhi would definitely not be a guy that needs
well,
a
I
lot
want
of
someone
points.
to go to the stupid East. Okay, I'm tired of the East being trash.
And you know
Like,
what?
it's not even just a LeBron thing anymore. It's just like I want to watch competitive basketball in the East and not know who's going to the finals.
And then it's like in New York and Indiana both trade their 2 stars to the West and just stack the West even more. Even if Carmelo's not that great anymore, they still send him West.
Yeah,
It's like everyone always goes West. Like, why didn't somebody just go East?
because would you rather go to L.A. or
There's Miami.
that's about it in the East though? Like you have 2 L.A. teams. You got Phoenix. I mean, like Phoenix isn't a great spot, but it's warm.
Yeah. Nice.
Houston, warm. Golden State.
San Antonio to Dallas.
Yeah.
Definitely some
Otherwise, you got to go to Philly. Who else? Boston,
Brooklyn.
Cleveland.
Cleveland's not-
If it wasn't
Indiana.
for LeBron, Cleveland would not even be on a
Detroit.
map. Like Cleveland would literally not be on any map ever made. That town is
except for the laugh
trash.
in the NFL. That's the laughing plays. But yeah, so you don't think the Spurs can get a couple games?
No, I'm gonna give them 1 because Pop's really good at coaching. Like if they
I think I
had-
gave him 2.
if they have any other coach, this would be a sweep, double sweep.
I gave him 2 games.
That's the hopeful Devin talking.
That's the hopeful Devin and Popovich support talking.
I mean, Popovich is really good, and the Warriors haven't been playing great without
No,
Steph.
they're 7-10 in the last 17. All the wins came against teams below 500.
Yeah, but
But it's also the playoffs, and they have Kevin Durant. And it's a lot better than anybody the Spurs can say. So,
I mean,
and they also have
Patty
Klay
Mills.
Thompson and Draymond Green.
Yeah,
And they stopped
the
playing
thing is-
Zaza so much. That helps.
The thing is, when you're playing a team with that much less talent than you, you don't have to ask people to do things that they can't do. Like that's what they've been asking Draymond and other people to do things that they can't really do, and they don't have to do that. So
Yeah, and they're starting to play Zaza less, which always makes their team better. I don't know why they didn't figure that out earlier, but I wish they'd play him more, actually. But next up, the 3-6 seeds. The Portland Trailblazers is the 3 seed versus the 6 seed New Orleans Pelicans. The Trailblazers won 49 games. The Pelicans won 48. What do you think of this series? Should be interesting with McCollum and Lillard in the for Portland, and then Anthony Davis for New Orleans.
Yeah, I saw that Colin predicted this to be a 5-game series, which I thought was really interesting because I think the Pelicans have a legitimate chance in this one.
I said a competitive 6.
I got 7. I'm going to
I
take
can see
Portland,
that.
but I really think that the Pelicans could win the series.
I think they have a legitimate chance. I mean,
Anthony
Drew
Davis is
Holiday's
really
playing
good.
really well right now.
Yeah, and Drew Holiday, he's a really good defender, so he's probably going to guard Lillard, and so that means Lillard's going to get like 25 only instead of like 30. But if you can hold Lillard and McCollum to under 50 points, you legitimately should win the game.
And a lot with Portland, it depends on how well Nurkic plays.
Yeah.
If he plays well inside, they're really hard to beat because it's a third option. They have someone who's of size who can do something. If he plays,
But
plays
Anthony
bad,
Davis.
yes, exactly. If he plays bad, they struggle a bit. And Anthony Davis is very good at what he does. He's averaging 28 points a game this year and 11 rebounds.
And like, what, 2 blocks?
2.57.
Yeah. So,
Also about a steal and half a game.
honestly, if Portland was the 3 seed, we'd probably be talking about Anthony Davis for MVP too.
Yeah, I think right now he'd be third on my ballot.
I don't know. I'd have him or LeBron second. I don't know. It's close. But I think I'd put LeBron. Because I think the fact that it's so close and I'm not picking Anthony Davis, like right off the bat, means that it's just because I don't like LeBron. So it's probably I should probably put him second.
Nice. Also, they have Rondo, who can't score, but he's still a good passer.
Yeah.
Averaging 8 assists a game this year, so there's that. And it's just nice to see the Pelicans actually got some guards who are competent to put around Anthony Davis.
Yeah. If they still had Boogie, I think they'd be worse. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Easy.
They don't mesh well.
No.
Boogie doesn't mesh well with a lot of people.
Boogie's a little different. So yeah, it's interesting how the Pelicans kind of sorted their roster this year, bringing in some guards and stuff like that that can actually play the game of basketball. Is nice to see with Holiday, Rondo, even like Ian Clark and like Solomon Hill, Jordan Crawford, the guys who are at least can dribble and shoot a basketball. Like for a while there, they had nobody.
You're right. Imagine if Chris Paul would have stayed there, and then they would have got Anthony Davis. That would be a light show.
Yeah,
That'd be insane.
Etuan Moore.
Hey, he was really good for Purdue.
Yeah,
He wore number 55. Really, I remember him playing for Purdue. He was so good. He shot so well.
It's like those guys that wear the odd numbers for certain positions. You just always remember them.
Yes.
So I'm saying like quarterbacks, if they wear number 21, like
Indiana's quarterback?
yeah,
Yeah.
don't know his name, but we know the Indiana quarterback wore a weird number.
Exactly.
Doug Flutie wore 22. He was short.
Well, I only remember Doug Flutie because he was actually really good. So,
And he wore number 22.
and he threw a Hail Mary.
Yes, he did. He threw one.
That's all I got.
He's in the Dr. Pepper commercials.
So who do you have then? So your matchups, you have Toronto versus Cleveland. I know who you're gonna have in that.
Cleveland in 5 or 6, somewhere in there. I just don't believe in the Raptors.
I'll take Cleveland in 7. I don't believe in the Raptors either, but their roster is so much better than Cleveland's that I just think it'll have to show.
And then I'd have Celtics and 76ers.
Who you got in that one?
Yeah, I'm not sure at this point because I think it's interesting. I want to see how Philly goes in their first playoff series to see if they can.
Well, you got to predict all these right now, so you don't have that.
I'm gonna.
That's what we're doing. This is part of the show.
I'm doing the cop out right now.
No, you can't.
I'm doing the cop out because I want to see how this young team plays in the playoffs first.
Devin, we're picking the playoffs. Pick a team.
Fine, I'll take them versus Boston in 7 games.
Okay, I'm taking Philly in 7. I don't know why that was so hard. And then you have.
Because I want to see how they respond in the playoffs first. They're a
go to
young
the
team.
West. Who do we have?
You have Houston versus. I have OKC. You have Utah.
All right. Well, I got Houston.
I got
in
Houston
5.
going on anyways. So
Yeah.
if it's Utah, I think it's. Yeah, I think it's either one. It's probably 5. But I think OKC versus Houston could be entertaining.
It
Kinda
would
like
be,
last
it would be
year.
very entertaining.
It was entertaining last year in a 5-game series.
Yeah, Russell against James Harden would just. The problem with that is that they don't really have anyone to guard both James Harden and Chris Paul.
Yeah, they're going to miss Andre Robertson in that series.
Yeah.
As much as he can't shoot or score or do anything on that side of the ball, what he does on defense is outstanding.
Yeah.
So, the other side we have Portland versus Golden State, with Curry probably coming back at that point.
Yeah, I have Golden State in 4 if Curry plays, Golden State in 6 if he doesn't.
I'm going to agree with you with the 6 games. I think even if he does play, Portland can get hot for a game and win a game.
Yeah, well, we saw them play last year, and it wasn't good.
That's fair. I think Portland's just better this year. So I think Nurkic could play really well versus Golden State.
He could, but JaVale McGee could shut him down.
Go away.
My legitimate point is it doesn't matter how well he plays because Golden State with Steph back will just be on fire. So.
And he might not be fully healthy at that point. So.
Yeah, but I don't really think it matters. I think it's more of a mental thing at this point now.
Okay, that's fair.
They need their star back.
So then we both have Houston, Golden State.
For all the people that argue that Steph's not the most important person on the team,
he is.
Bet.
Kevin Durant's the best player.
Kevin Durant is the best player, but Steph Curry is the most important player.
Because he makes that offense do things that's just not normal. Because he stretches the floor that much.
Like, you literally have to guard him at 35 feet. That's not okay.
It's stupid. He's that good.
Yeah.
He just stays healthy.
Yep.
And then, so our conference finals would be Houston, Golden State, and Cleveland, Philly for both of us.
Okay, well, Steph Curry being healthy matters a lot more than that one.
Yes, it does.
I'm going to take Golden State in 7. I think that with Steph, they're the better team. Without Steph healthy, they're not the better team. If Steph's not healthy or back, I would take Houston in 5 or 6. They just don't have this firepower without Steph.
I like Houston a lot. It's just they still have Mike D'Antoni as a coach, and James Harden and Chris Paul have never got past the second round. I guess Harden did once when he beat Chris Paul in the playoffs, but like they just haven't had consistent stuff.
And then you got to replay that highlight in your head of James Harden against the Spurs last year.
That was bad, so bad.
Quite possibly the worst playoff performance by a superstar ever. Like really, legitimately, that's a supreme possible.
He just stopped shooting.
He just quit. He literally just quit.
Yeah, it was not great. So it's hard for me to trust Houston in a conference final versus Golden State. Even with Curry being out or even limited, it's much more interesting. God, it's so interesting to see how that would work itself out. I want to see how Curry looks. Like it's the whole thing is how Curry looks in that series, like going into that series.
Yeah, you got to pick now though. You can make both sides. You can pick both sides, but you got to pick either way.
I will decide to make my prediction. Fine. I'll go safe. I'll go Golden State in that one. If he plays, I think it goes 6 games. And if he didn't play, I'll go 6 games for Houston. So
yeah, I agree.
I think somewhere in that range. But I'd love to see a Game 7 because Game 7s are always fun. And then the next one, Cleveland versus Philly.
I think that this series is more interesting in my head than it'll be in reality.
I don't know, I know the regular season, but that last game between Cleveland and Philly was pretty entertaining.
The thing is that Ben Simmons can somewhat guard LeBron. Like, as well as people can guard LeBron, Ben Simmons can do it. And Philly really has more firepower than...
Cleveland has absolutely no answer for Joel Embiid.
No. Like, if Joel Embiid plays,
the Cavs start Kevin Love at center.
Yeah.
And if he didn't play, it's Larry Nance Jr., who's shorter. It's not great.
I really think that this is the first time the Cavs have had a chance of getting beat in a while. Because the only problem is that Philly's really young.
That is the one thing that I think Cleveland uses to their advantage to go.
But Philly is way more talented than Cleveland top to bottom.
Yes.
Like, not even close. Like, Ben Simmons and LeBron are obviously not on the same level, but they're similar playing styles. And, like, LeBron's better, but Ben Simmons is close. Like, he's not
playing really
close,
well.
But he's close, you know.
I mean, J.J. Redick, Covington, Saric.
Joel Embiid is at least as much better than Kevin Love as LeBron is than Ben Simmons at this point. So
that's a wash.
And then the rest of the roster is just like Philly.
Fultz, McConnell, Redick, Covington, Saric.
I mean, you took a really weird way to start that with Fultz and McConnell, but
they were
Covington, pretty solid player.
Yeah, he's
Saric, really good player.
Rashard Holmes.
Athletic.
Yeah, a little bit.
Larry Nance, but better.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna take Philly in 7, but that one is that one's like
the
Devin.
least confidence.
Like, if Philly shows up and they don't play well because they're rookies, then I'm gonna change that one.
Cavs in 6.
That's probably more realistic. That's a hopeful one. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Yep.
Philly's hopeful. All right.
So we're over.
No, we got to pick the finals, bro. I know you don't want to because you're going to have to pick against your boy.
Let's see. I have either one of them beating the Cavs in 5.
Yeah, so do I.
Maybe 6 because LeBron's really good. But other than that,
If Steph doesn't play, Warriors in 6, because the Warriors could legitimately still beat Houston without Steph.
exactly.
Because Houston choke James Harden game 7.
Yeah. Anyways, D'Antoni, no D,
No.
Mike D'Antoni. So yeah, interesting with that. But yeah, I don't think anybody in the East is going to beat Houston or Golden State.
I think Philly
so.
has a better chance than Cleveland. Because if at that point Philly's playing really well, and they're more like Philly's as talented as the Warriors without Steph, probably.
They give you that probably, yeah.
So
Yeah, they're just not beating them in a 7-game series.
without Steph,
I don't think they do. Still,
I think it'd be close. Because think about it,
I'd be competitive. I'm not saying it wouldn't be competitive.
If they could beat LeBron, if they could beat, it would literally be like beating the Cavs again. Because it's like you got 2 really good team players on offense, which for the Warriors it'd be Clay and KD.
Yeah.
For the Cavs it'd be LeBron and Kevin Love.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that without Steph, that series would be very competitive.
I think we're gonna get one of our better playoffs seasons we've had in a couple of years. I think there's
the
actually
first round in the East is gonna be absolutely terrible.
I don't think it's gonna be that bad. I think they're well matched
you got
teams.
Toronto and Washington going 7.
I think they're well matched teams. I think the matchups that happen are better. Are the best possible thing.
No, wait, who we got here? Yeah, I think if Philly would have played Indiana and Miami would have played Cleveland, that would have been way better.
Okay, but like the 2-7, the 1-8 are better than usual.
Well, the reason the 2-7's better is because Kyrie's out. Like if Kyrie was there and Gordon Hayward was there, that would not be any remotely a series.
If Gordon Hayward was there, they're going to have the 1 seed, so it doesn't matter.
Okay, well if Kyrie was there, that would not be a series.
I still think it'd be a series.
A 5-game one.
Very competitive 5 games. I'd be entertained to watch it.
I think that the East will have a maximum. Not one of those series will go over 6 games.
I think you're looking
I hope
at the
I'm
glass
wrong.
half empty. So
that's one thing. If I'm wrong and someone goes 7, I'm gonna be happy.
I mean, it's better than the 7 and 8 teams last year with Indiana and Chicago.
I thought Detroit was that 2 years ago?
Two years ago, yeah. And I'm not sure what happened to Detroit the past couple of years. Like they have a decent roster. I'm not sure what's.
It's really hard to have a big man that can't shoot free throws.
It's fair.
At all.
Yeah.
I feel like Andre Drummond's really talented, but I just feel like he's not valuable to a roster.
He gets a lot of rebounds.
I know, but like
that's the only thing. Like,
you can't play him in the last 3 minutes of a game.
No, you can't. I mean, he's just not.
And then Whiteside gets mad about that same thing, but you can't. Like Spoelstra's got to figure it out. You can't play this guy.
I mean, for a guy who averages 15 and 16, you just can't play him late in the game. It's hard to restrict your roster that way. You need your best players on the floor late. And they traded for Blake Griffin, who's
played really well this year, though.
Yeah. So interesting with all that stuff going on there with Detroit.
Oh well.
Yep.
I would much rather watch Toronto and Washington than Toronto and Detroit. So.
Exactly. Washington, I think, is a really.
I mean, it'll go.
They underachieved. They should be like a 4 or 5 seed.
Yeah.
Up there.
Well, John Wall didn't play for a lot, and John Wall is by far the most talented player on the roster. So.
So yeah, that's kind of what we're at right now. Is there anything else you want to say that happened in sports world that you want to get off your chest real quick, or no? Like anything in general?
Nope. The Royals suck. That's about it.
They should keep pitching Moyer because he's really good apparently.
It's Sorry all over again. I don't want to talk about it.
Ned Yost is a great manager, he said sarcastically.
Yeah, well, he's pretty good in the way that he learns from his mistakes a lot.
Oh.
Well. Okay.
I can't believe I even got pushback on that on Twitter.
The only pushback that makes sense is that I don't know that there's a lot of good managers, like really good managers.
But they didn't make that argument.
No, I know. That's what Shane says, and he's like, yeah, Ned Yost isn't great, but like, what managers are great? There's probably 3 or 4 in the league, and I'll give you that. But there's a lot of decent managers, and Ned Yost isn't in that category. Bad.
He's a bad manager.
He's bad at what he does.
I can't believe I even got pushback on that though.
No, because if you watched, it just had to be people that didn't watch baseball and just knew that they won the World Series.
I think they watched baseball. Like those two guys, they watched baseball. I'm not sure what they were watching for sure.
They're just homers because that's the only thing that makes
sense. I don't understand.
Like to pitch I don't know why we're talking about this, but to pitch Yordan Ventura in that wild card game might be the worst manager decision of all time. Granted, we still won the game, but that was a terrible choice.
They won in spite of him for 2 straight years into World Series runs.
I will say the second year was not. He was a much better manager.
It wasn't
that
as bad.
year.
It wasn't as bad. No. So.
But he's still bad now.
Well, it also makes it a lot.
Like last year.
Okay, but it makes it a lot easier when you're backing your bullpen. Is like, we're
for sure.
Go
but he didn't
Davis
really screw up that year. Like
That's fair.
He was decent that year. But, like, last year, we would have made the playoffs if he doesn't pitch Soria 55 times when he's bad.
And even, like, if you pitch Story, it can't be in the ninth inning.
No.
Like, he was fine in the seventh inning. Ninth inning, he was terrible.
Yeah, and Ned Yost, like, ninth inning. Soria, he's like, no, I don't want to. And Ned's like, you have to.
The executioner.
Yeah. Ned's like, go.
Ruin this game for us. But, yeah, it's really frustrating when that happens. I forgot what I was going to say now. But, yeah, he's not great.
And Paul Young hit the ball at 200 miles. And Giancarlo Stanton's also bad. But how stupid are you to boo him? Like, that's dumb.
Yeah, it is really dumb.
He's
also, I love the fights in baseball right now. It's great.
Yeah, dude. I wish that Arenado would have landed that punch. That would have been such a cool. Like,
that pitcher did not want anything to do with that.
No, dude. He would have hit him so hard. Oh, my goodness. That was a swing and a half.
The pitcher threw his glove because he didn't want to fight him. Which he was also high on that pitch and kind of inaccurate.
Yeah, that pitch was not good.
And then the Yankees-Red Sox one was better because Joe Kelly was like, fight me. Let's go.
Yeah, Joe Kelly kind of beat the crap out of that
guy.
I'm like, Joe Kelly's like, he's tiny.
It's a pitcher with goggles, and you just got your butt kicked by him. That's not great if you're a hitter.
No, it's not. All right, we should probably stop.
Yeah, we should probably stop, but yeah. I don't know. It was entertaining. I always like the baseball fights this early in the year. It's like it's April.
Well,
it's
usually
great.
they're not like actual fights, but this year there's been a couple where like real punches were thrown. Like Arenado really tried to hurt that dude.
Ever since like Ventura and Oakland, which was great by the way. I don't know why people were mad about that. I enjoyed those series every time. Yeah. Which Ventura, rest in peace. But those were great series. Like people are like, he needs to chill. I'm like, no, he doesn't. Like I need entertainment. It's April.
Dude, I'd want to fight Josh Donaldson if I saw him in person too.
He's a great guy.
You probably do think that.
Hey, I defend him.
Yeah, not surprised.
I loved him and Joey Bats for that Toronto team.
Okay, well, I don't like Joey Bats, but that bat flip was not that big of a deal. That's a different story. But Joey Bats is still a not nice guy due to things I cannot say on the radio. That's what I'll say.
Okay, that's fair. Also, we'll more into next week. We'll dive more into the draft since it'll be 6 days away at that point.
Oh, I'm draft ready.
You are draft ready?
Well, we could go all day on that. All I know is quarterbacks, but that's it.
That's all that matters early in the draft.
You're right.
And we'll be on for the finals week thing.
Oh, we will be on finals week, so we got 2 more?
Yeah, we got the draft, first round. We're not missing that show.
All right.
Come on now.
Well, I guess I'll be here because I graduated, so.
Yeah, I mean, we'll be here.
I was like, I might be going home, but then I was like, oh, no, I got to graduate the next day. So
we got to graduate. Here. You know if you're in the early or late session.
Late.
Woo, let's go, 2 o'clock.
Yeah, they wanted people to switch, and I was like, no, I don't want to do it.
10 o'clock's kind of early. Yeah. I've done my time.
How am I supposed to black out and be up by 10?
By the way, we have 15 days, 3 hours, 44 minutes, and 52 seconds.
Yeah, I'm okay with the countdown now. I was giving you some crap about the countdown now.
When it was 100 days away?
Yeah, when it was 100 days away, that was a little ridiculous, but I'm ready. I love Northwest. Like, I get to stay, so it's not like that big of a deal.
I'll be in the area still. It's not like I'm leaving.
I mean, I am so done with undergrad. Like, at this point.
Something different. You just want something different.
I just want something that's focused on what I want to do.
That's fair.
And I feel like some of my classes aren't, and it makes me very frustrated.
It's understandable. It's like, I don't care about this class or anything we're doing here. I have to do it to graduate.
That's about right, yeah.
All right. So kind of like LeBron in the regular season in the NBA, like
on defense for sure. You can't
I don't want to play this defense.
All year
I do not want to guard Otto Porter right now. Just shoot a jumper and we can go on the other end.
Yeah. I was gonna say you can't say he didn't try an offense because he played 82 games and a ton of minutes. So.
Yes, he did. I think you want to make a statement there. Anyways, we're gonna be done for the day. We talked enough. We're sorry. Kind of.
Bye, people.
All right,
Darty. You still got one more day.
We will see you guys next week here on Friday. Take us out on WSK today from 2 to 5 on KZLX and also on KNWT Channel 8 Facebook Live.